All right, fourth graders, it's Miss Nestrick here, and we are moving on to the back of our Frank Stella piece of artwork. We're going to spend a couple more weeks on this project. I don't want to rush you guys, especially with 30-minute classes, so we're going to take our time and just keep going with it. But we're going to start the back today. So the back is the opposite of the front. So the front is all about Frank Stella's work in the beginning and middle of his life. It was minimalist. Minimalist means that there's very little detail. It's very simple, very crisp and clean, very flat. Those are all kind of characteristics of minimalism. This is one of his protractor pieces that we talked about last week when we were doing our last box on the front, and it is very minimalist. This is very characteristic of his middle of his life artwork. Then his art completely changed, and he became a maximalist, which is completely different than a minimalist. So in class today, when I was talking to some of my fourth grade friends about these artworks, some of the things that they noticed immediately: this is a three-dimensional piece of artwork. There are patterns on these pieces. There are layers upon layers upon layers. And the layers are what we're really going to get at today. But I want you guys to notice how many colors there are, specifically on this left piece. You can have less color, but there are still patterns on each piece. There are still colors that are combined. There are still layers on here, whether it's layers of color, layers of pattern, or layers of shapes. Layers, layers, layers. That is the most important thing with the back of this piece of artwork. So I want you to flip your paper over, and what I want you to do is I'm going to pull up this picture in just a second. Ta-da! It magically appeared. So this is the picture that the Florida Virtual School gives us as an example of this background. So the shapes are all lines that were turned into shapes. So you might see a perpendicular line, a vertical line that meets a horizontal line. You see curves, you see wavy lines, you see zigzags, you see straight repeated lines, you see thin lines and thick lines, all sorts of different types of lines. So this is at the beginning of their project. They weren't finished with it yet, but this is the idea that we're going for. It really is an easy concept. Just start by drawing lines, turn those lines into shapes, and then layer, 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 layer. Do all sorts of overlapping. If you have any color that bled through from the front, utilize that. Take advantage of that color. Go ahead and just color it on the back. Turn that into a new shape. Draw the exact same shape that you did on the front and just have it on the back too. Don't freak out if it's really bad and you can see everything that is bleeding through. I'm going to give her credit. Miss Vonnie suggested that you just take another sheet of white paper and glue it to the back, and then you can have a clean surface to work from. I would recommend using a glue stick. Usually I stay away from glue sticks in art class because they don't last as long as regular glue, but it'll keep your papers from being bumpy when you glue them together. So get out a sheet of paper get out your Frank Stella artwork and flip it over to the back, and we'll get started.
I feel like new sunglasses, like a brand new pair of jeans. I feel like taking chances. I feel a lot like 17. I feel like windows roll down new city streets and cabs. I feel like anything can happen in life, and you take me right back when we were kids.
Now that I have drawn all of my shapes and overlapped a lot, I'm going to start going in with some color, varying the thick lines and the thin lines to create some contrast and some variety in my artwork.
Don't even think of touching the ground. Like a young John Cusack, like making big mistakes. I feel like for the first time in a long time, I am not afraid. I feel like a kid. Never thought it'd feel like this. Like when I close my eyes and don't even care if anyone sees me dancing.
So now that I have pattern on almost every single shape and I've layered my colors and layered my shapes, I'm going to go back with some black and outline things to emphasize them.
Brand new.
All right, so I think I'm done. I might come back and add more to it at another point, but this is what I've got so far. So I've layered my shapes, colored all of them, gone back and added pattern on top. Then I've added black to add emphasis, to draw your eye to those certain shapes and to help them stand out. So this is an example of maximalism because it has lots of different things going on. Lots of layering of shapes, lots of layering of patterns and colors, and it resembles Frank Stella's later work at the end of his life. So we're going to be working on this for at least the next 2 weeks, and then after that we will eventually make this into a sculpture, so please do not lose it. You still need it. If you guys have any questions, please message me on Schoology. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Adios.